Let's go ahead and get the Husqvarna Viking Designer Topaz 25 set up for embroidery. So we've just finished doing the sewing machine videos. So I have pulled out the R presser foot and put it on. The accessory box does need to be removed. So I usually pull out the things that I'm needing for our next little part. Usually the screwdriver is one I have by. As we switch over to embroidery needles, having the multi-purpose tool, that's always nice to have out. All right, and if you have the pack of threads that come with the machine, you can go ahead and use some of those. The white is bobbin thread. There's a little fabric and stabilizer in here that you're welcome to use. And all your designs that come built into your machine. You also are going to need the USB stick. This stick has all the designs on it. So you do need to actually get that plugged in. Usually there's this little cord and things. So we are going to, I'm just going to slip that little loop in there and then wrap it around. So then that all holds together. Usually if you're going to class, I would make sure you have maybe slipped on a little kind of fun item, maybe you embroider a little identification so you actually have that. So all the other ones are going to look the same. There we go. And sometimes too, another thing we'll do is even kind of wrap it around the top part here. Then that way it doesn't get away from you. We do that at the store quite a bit. And then that way everything stays nice and in place. All right, USB stick in. Great. Okay, so we're done with that. Last thing before we put the module on, just a note, if you have this red clip still in the back side of your embroidery module from when you got it home from your dealer, if they did not take that out, you must remove that. I actually throw it away when we're done. That was only for shipping, so you definitely don't need it for later. Then we're going to go ahead and slide it on. And then also too, you can go ahead and lower the feed dogs down. So if you slide those over, those will lower, because once you slide this on, and when you go ahead and click it in place, you can use some force. That actually all goes together. The screen is going to change over to your embroidery part, and this will always come up. It says Calibrate Embroidery Unit. Remove the hoop, so I don't have any hoop on. Clear the embroidery arm for calibration. So pretty much what that means is make sure that there's nothing around this area. Move your drinks, your pets, whatever is sitting. Make sure your machine is not too close to the wall back here. Give it a little kind of bubble so nothing touches up against this moving arm because it is calibrating. The little extra noise at the end, that is normal. It happens all the time. Don't worry about it. People always ask. What you see comes up is the USB embroidery stick, designs and fonts, and we'll be able to go in there and pick out our designs as we get started. But what we want to do next is actually go ahead and show you for threading, how to do this, and then also for winding a bobbin. What I like to do is I actually use a lot of the bottom line thread, usually just white is all we need. And I do use a thread stand. This is one of the pieces you can purchase from Husqvarna Viking. I seem to spend most of my time running around picking up my spool caps off the floor. So this does eliminate my issue of having that not being where I want it to be. No spool cap when you use the thread stands. Now notice I am threading my machine to wind the bobbin. And I also want to show you a little bit of a trick. So there's less thread on the bobbin for when the sensor goes off. So we showed this in the bobbin sensor video, but I'm going to show you again. So just go ahead and put your thread from the inside out up through the bobbin. Go ahead and place that on the bobbin winder, and then make sure it goes and lays right in here. When you slide it over, okay, bobbin winding is on. You're going to hold this up top so it's nice and tight. But when you start to wind, instead of it letting it fill naturally up at the top part of the bobbin, what I'm going to do is, as I step on the foot control, is to tap this thread so it fills the bottom part first. That way, whatever's left at the top for those first couple winds will be all that's left when the sensor goes off. So when you're out, you're going to be out. All right, so just go ahead and wind. You're going to notice with the true bobbin thread, it's very, very fine. So you're going to get lots on your bobbin. And I usually will wind up like a whole handful of bobbins. Mostly I'll use white. On occasion I have some black bobbins filled up as well. If you ever needed a matching thread, you can always use the spool you're using. So if I need a purple bobbin, just go ahead and wind one from your spool. You're going to notice, though this is embroidery thread, how little in comparison to bobbin thread, how less amount of thread you get on the actual bobbin. So that'll keep going. You know what, for today we're going to just go ahead and stop that because it will last me plenty. All right, so we'll go ahead and set that aside. For embroidery thread, I do prefer a polyester. It's just stronger. These machines last long, run faster, so that polyester will really be the best choice. We've put in an embroidery needle. It's a sharper point, and that will work best on the cotton fabrics that we're working on. So that is what we're going to do. We also are going to show you about halfway through changing over to the sensor Q foot. It is an optional foot and one that it just helps for sometimes the thicker fabrics you might be working on, or if you have some troublesome threads. And it is available to you. You just need to purchase it separately. Okay, next we're going to show you how to properly hoop your fabric and then start getting into picking your designs and how to move them to the proper position and get ready to embroider.